My name is Claire Castleford, and as I'm paying a small fortune for these sessions, I'd expect you to be up to speed, Doctor. Being rich has its perks, but honestly, I would give it all up in a heartbeat if it could free me from this madness. I'm in a bit of a predicament, Doctor. I'll get to that. I'm an only child and my parents are both dead. Naturally, I inherited everything. It was an accident. But I don't feel like talking about it at the moment. Well, according to your predecessor, I'm a delusional psychotic with obsessive tendencies. Oh, and a history of violence. Sounds so cold when you put it like that, though, doesn't it? I'm obsessed with my husband. It's absurd, really, because he is here. And he shouldn't be. Lucky to be alive. He almost died. My husband is not a well man. We've been having problems for a while now. His health, if you can call it that, has been deteriorating rapidly in the last few weeks. I can't cope with caring for him anymore. Since our altercation, he's become less and less active. His mind's become less and less active too. Such a delightful conversationalist at one time, now more of an enigmatic husk. David has trouble looking after himself. Sometimes I'll leave the lake house and he's just sitting in the rocking chair on the porch. And when I return the next evening, he's still there, just staring into the stars. He needs help, I know, but I can't hire anybody to care for him. David's not ready for company. I hope to take you to see him one day and you'll see for yourself. David's staying at the lake house. It belonged to my parents, but I don't use it much anymore. I have the main house to myself. To be fair, there was only one violent outburst. That hardly qualifies as a history of violence. And he provoked me. That's why I'm here, isn't it? I'm not proud of my behaviour, but I was very angry. It was a private matter, though. The police should never have been involved. I stabbed him with a steak knife. Shocking, isn't it? It was a brief moment of temporary insanity. Or temporary clarity, I'm not really sure which. David had been having an affair with his assistant optician, Iris. How predictable. Not just the affair, but an optician named Iris. Not anymore. No, not like that. I didn't kill her or anything. It's just that I changed the optician into a florist after David died. Optometry was his dream, not mine. As in, seeing things that are not there. I'm not going to be any more specific. It's not true in any case. I'm not delusional. I never used to get angry. Ever. If you're angry, you're not in control. Isn't that right? And it would be very bad for me to lose control. It doesn't work, no. He's not very communicative anymore, so a job is out of the question. He used to be an optician. Now he just spends all his time at the lake house, frittering his time away. He abhors technology. Mainly he hunts things and then creates huge, unwielding fires that I'm sure will be the death of him and the lake house at some point. The police seem to think I'm dangerous. I'm only sitting here talking to you because I have a lot of money. Otherwise, there's no doubt I'd be thrown into prison for a very long time. That's why I need your help, Doctor. That's why I'm paying for these sessions. Everyone else thinks I'm crazy and dangerous. Everyone else thinks I've lost my mind. I suppose after what I did, there are people that might think I belonged in prison. What do you think, Doctor? Can I be saved with therapy, or should I be locked up like a dangerous criminal? You have a lot of faith in your abilities. That's good. I look forward to being completely cured. We've been married for 7 years, but we don't have any children. Thank God. I don't think we would have made very good parents. There's no mystery to it. Some people are just not cut out to be parents. I don't think I can see either of us wiping sticky fingers or mending grazed knees. I should have divorced him. I wish I had. So much could have been avoided. Divorce is such an imperfect means of separating two people, don't you think? I suppose I don't really mean it. I thought he was my soulmate and that I would do anything for him. That's a weakness that has caused me problems. The most shocking thing about Dr. Decker's death is that he didn't bring it upon himself. But then I hadn't known him for a very long time. Perhaps I was wrong about him, but I imagine that in his line of work he met a lot of unstable people. Perhaps he pushed someone too far. Had that look about him. You know what they say about us crazies. Takes one to know one. I'd been seeing him for about 3 months. I never met him outside of our sessions, and we spent those discussing my therapy, not making small talk. Dr. Decker did think I was delusional when he first met me. He changed his mind after getting to know me better, as I hope he will too. Who's to say who is sane or insane? We all see the world differently, don't we?
I'm Mariana. Are you feeling okay? That's what Dr. Decker would say. I think you're supposed to tell me what's wrong with me. Isn't that how it works? The police keep picking me up for public nudity. I think they think I'm a naturist or something. They picked me up 5 times in the last month. I black out. And then the next thing I remember, I'm naked on the beach, like I've been washed up on shore. Nobody's pressed charges yet, but I can feel it. The police are getting suspicious. People see me and call the police. But someone will take offense eventually, and I'll be charged with indecent exposure. I do suffer from blackouts, which is strange as I can hold my breath for a really long time. But I'm not swimming before I black out. Dr. Decker thought it was anxiety originally. Then he worked it out. Dr. Decker thought I had generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, because of the blackouts. He thought I was breathing badly. Do you think I'm breathing badly? He eventually decided it wasn't anxiety, but I'm not going to tell you his final diagnosis. We should have a fresh start. I don't want you influenced by the prognosis. You can check my breathing if you want. Do you want me to lie down? Can you tell just by looking at me? I'm not worried about it, just if you are. I'm not sure holding my breath too long is causing blackouts. I mean, it could, but I don't remember ever having a blackout when I'm holding my breath. I work for myself. I make bracelets from things I find on the beach and sell them online. I spend a lot of time at the beach. It's just way more relaxing than anywhere else. You should come with me one day. I can show you all of the sights. The business isn't doing that great, but I really enjoy my job if that helps. You can make a lot of money or you can have a lot of fun, but you can't usually do both. I normally black out when I'm dancing. I like dancing. Do you like dancing? I dance to anything with a beat. I dance a lot at nightclubs. I know most of the nightclubs around here. My favorite is the Pearl because they sell cheap vodka shots all night. Maybe it's just the black lighting. Who knows? You think my dancing causes my blackouts? No, I know it's the last thing I remember, but I don't think it's that. Sometimes I remember more, but I'm tired now. Is that it for today? I want to stop having the blackouts. I want to stop waking up at the beach. I want to remember those entire evenings. Can you suggest anything that might help? I found myself doing lots of things. But it's not so easy to do when you're blacked out. Will you do it for me? Will you watch me to see what happens? That's not very supportive, doctor. I never find my clothes. I don't know why I'm naked. When I wake up, my hair is dry, but it's pretty hot at the moment. I get baked quickly by the sun. It's possible I've been in the sea during my blackout. Sometimes I go swimming in the sea. I don't always black out. I'm a great swimmer. I won all these medals at school. I can hold my breath a really long time. Too long, really. I hold my breath when I'm swimming underwater. Most people do. Sometimes, if I'm really excited, I'll hold my breath accidentally, just for a few seconds. I don't know why. I love the beach. Until somebody tells me it's gonna kill me, I'll keep going. Have you ever been addicted to something, Doctor? You need to have a passion for something, Doctor. I'm not seeing anyone at the moment, if that's what you're asking. Why can't a girl go to a club on her own? I like dancing. I don't have many real friends, I suppose, but that's what happens when you move about a lot. I don't really know anyone around here. Move around when I dance, and geographically speaking, I'll stop clubbing for a while. It's no biggie. No, nothing like that. I usually wake up on my side like I've been sleeping. Sometimes I'm partially covered by seaweed. I normally feel refreshed, which is weird, right? I'm not scared. Not yet. I just want to know what's going on. Well, that's why you're here, isn't it? You've replaced him. He was a good listener. I hope you are. Dr. Decker could really get inside you. It was, unsettling. But you let him do it. Part of the process, I guess. Dr. Decker was fine. He had good relationships with his patients as far as I know. I'm not sure why anyone would want him dead. I've been a patient here for 3 months. Today is my patient birthday. Do I get a cake or something? That is so sweet. Thank you, Doctor.
Elin. I'm 25 and I'm a nurse. God, I sound like I'm on one of those dating shows. I'm not really looking for love at the moment. I'm sort of married to my work, but in a good way. In a nursing home for the elderly. I basically do end-of-life care, making sure the patients are comfortable, making sure they're not in any pain, and I talk to them. I keep them company. Some of them get pretty frightened about what's coming. Well, those of them that aren't out of it on meds. I comfort them. Isn't it what everyone's afraid of? The great unknown. No one should have to face that alone. I don't like it when patients are heavily sedated, especially when there are alternatives, like herbal remedies. I mean, imagine if you only had a few days or weeks left to live. Would you want to spend it asleep? I feel like it's almost criminal. Like you're robbing people of their last moments on Earth. You should be able to savour the experience, not sleep your way to death. I'm not saying anyone should be happy about dying. I've seen lots of people die and it's a special moment. There's literally nothing else like it. Most people think herbalism is a joke, but I'd much rather help my patients sleep at night with valerian or passion flower than lorazepam, temazepam or zolpidem. You must see it all the time, doctor. You take one pill, then have to take 5 other pills to deal with the side effects. Herbs are kinder. Obviously, you have to be careful, just like with everything. Giving the wrong combination can be deadly. Fortunately, I know what I'm doing. I started seeing Dr. Decker a few months ago. I thought it would be nice to have someone I could talk to about work. It can get a bit stressful sometimes. I don't like losing a patient, but that's the job. I don't get stressed about it or anything. It's not the job that stresses me. It's the people I work with, the other nurses. They're mean to me. They call me the angel of death because so many patients have died on my shift. I don't think they mean it. Obviously, it's not my fault. It just seems to happen that way. They're old. People die when they're old. I mean, medically speaking, it's heart failure or organ failure or pneumonia. They're all natural causes though. I feel lucky to share that moment with them, to be there with them when it happens. You know what I mean? Yes, I love my job. I love my patients, even the really crotchety ones, you know? Oh God, you should hear what comes out of their mouths. They're like my children in a way. That sounds weird, doesn't it? 3 last month, 3 the month before that, I think. But only 1 so far this month, so that's good. Although one of my patients, Hilda, I don't think she's got long. Always swearing and spitting at me. Never got anything nice to say. Thinks we're going to smother her in her sleep or something. She doesn't bother me though. Terry's one of the other nurses at the home. I don't think she likes me very much. No, death doesn't scare me. It's probably because I've been around it so much, but I haven't seen anything that's made me feel like it's something to fear. I don't think death is an end. I think it's a doorway to another place. I'm just not sure where. Where do you think we go when we die, Doctor? I don't believe in God, so I can't really claim to believe in heaven. Hell isn't real. Whoever came up with that idea has a lot to answer for. I thought I was stuck in purgatory once, but then I realised I was just watching a really, really bad film. Sorry, I'm terrible at jokes. I don't really know what that is. Something to do with Vikings, isn't it? You learn something new every day. I've never really got the idea of reincarnation. I mean, are you still you? Do you know you're still you? And if not, how does that even work? Maybe we go somewhere completely beyond what we can imagine. We're only humans after all. We can't possibly comprehend what's really out there. When someone says afterlife, it just makes me think of wispy figures floating around in a white haze, like you get in those New Age posters. I don't really go for all that. I don't have any kids. Maybe I will one day, I don't know. At the moment, all my energy is focused on taking care of my patients. I love animals, especially cats. I think everyone is either a cat person or a dog person. What are you, Doctor? Dr. Decker was a dog person. Maybe it's a therapist thing. Apparently it's a Welsh name. I'm not Welsh. My mum's into all that New Age stuff and I think she thought it would make me seem more interesting. Like auras and healing energy, crystals and all that. It's not really my thing. I've known a lot of doctors over the years. Most of them arrogant idiots who think nurses are just there to do their bidding, or worse. Dr. Decker was different. He had a lot of time for me. He was interested in my problems. He was a bit offbeat, but yeah, I liked him. But then, I like most people. I'd been seeing him for about 9 months, I think. I think it's terrible what happened to him. So awful. No one deserves to die like that.
I'm Nathan Peel. I'm a supermarket worker from, well, hell, really. I imagine what I'm experiencing now might be a type of hell. Not everyone burns in flames with the devil on their back. I'm hoping you can make sense of my problem. Dr. Decker was a complex man. I spent a lot of time with him, but he won't remember it that way. Let's just say you might look back on your life and think there's nothing you would have done differently. No 2 days were alike for him in the end. Like, he couldn't decide what to do with himself. He had so many options, he didn't know what to do. I suppose if you take too long picking, all your options run away. As far as Dr. Decker was concerned, we had Monday, then moved on to Tuesday. But me, I had Monday 5, 10, 50 times before I got to Tuesday. I watched that Bill Murray film, Groundhog Day, to see if there's any clues. To see if there's any clues. That's how bad it's gotten. I'm looking for a cure in a Hollywood movie. Can you help me, Doctor? This is our first time around, and I trust you. This is our first time around, and I trust you. This is our first time around, and I trust you. It's like those montages you get in movies. Time passes, you wake up, shave, if you feel like it, shower, get dressed. What's the point? You get this day over and over, nothing changes. Am I in purgatory, Doctor? Because I'm stuck between this day and the next. Most of the time, anyway. Sometimes the bird song will change, or the weather will be less bleak, or that person who nodded at you yesterday doesn't do it today. But it doesn't usually change. You need a tragic event for change, like a murder. To move forward, I really have to see something that feels like it can't be rewound, like a death or some other tragedy. It's not enough to hear it or read it. I've got to see it. I suppose from that point of view, it looks like I'm in control of things. Dr. Decker's murder was sudden, brutal. It's terrible. But Doctor, 2 weeks. 2 weeks I had of rolling days. No do-overs. No Monday. I wouldn't kill anyone though. I'd have to keep doing it, wouldn't I? Few things seem to move me forward. I didn't see the driver. It was my fault. I pulled out and the lorry just rammed me. Well, Hannah. She was sat next to me. I was in shock, obviously. And when I came to, she was so close to me. It was like she was trying to hug me. But it wasn't right. Not natural. Bits of metal pushing through her. That was 5 years ago. If I had that day again, I wouldn't make the same mistake. Hannah would still be alive. We'd probably have a family by now. I haven't had any relationships since then. My childhood sweetheart. We met at secondary school. She was head girl, I was the quiet one. She liked computer games, so I instantly fell for her. I proposed in Goldshire. She said she didn't date elves, so I leveled up to a human necromancer and asked again. Sorry, it's Warcraft? We spent a lot of time on there. I was fine for quite a while after the accident. Well, being treated for depression. I thought I was cured. It was only recently after meeting Dr. Decker that I had a strange deja vu. I'm exhausted. Doctor, is our time up? We played World of Warcraft a lot together. I guess it's not the cool thing to do anymore. But we had a lot of memories there. To be honest, it reminds me a lot of life now. The same thing over and over again. Bring me X bunnies to make a stew. Y badger teeth. Rinse, repeat. Maybe I'm just grinding life. I'm not really fit for work anymore. I work in produce at the local supermarket. That mainly involves lifting heavy crates of fruit and veg into place for people to buy, and doing that over and over again. My muscles don't seem to have grown much. I think that maybe I'm not aging. When the day resets, I just reset with it. I used to be a builder. I had to quit. It's hard watching a house get built, only to start all over again the next day. I needed something less obvious. I do suffer from depression, but it's not very surprising, is it? I used to get fatigue too, just overwhelming tiredness. I don't really get that anymore. I've just learned to accept that this is my life now. Just if you spent the whole day at the gym and then repeat that day and not go, you'd have achieved nothing. No, I can't move backwards any more than a day. I don't really seem to control it. It's generally always on. I have to try and change something to move forward.
Doctor, glad I caught you. I thought you might want to hear what Ben had to say. Quick catch up? I'm not sure Ben will be coming in for a while. He's still pretty shook up about finding the body. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often in the line of work he's in. Anyway, he said he found the body at exactly 20 minutes past 10. For some reason, the first thing he did was look at his watch. That's all he'd say before he'd shut down. The police weren't very talkative either. Sorry, didn't you know? Ben's one of the night shift cleaners. I'm sure he's got some tales he could tell. Ben found Dr. Decker's body on Valentine's night in his office. In your office. But we did spend a lot of time together. There's only 2 of us that work here. I'm sure we'll become friends too, Doctor. Just try not to get murdered. The police wanted to know what I was doing Valentine's night, you know, when the body was found. I was at home, all on my lonesome. So I guess that makes me a suspect. I think the police want you to make a short list of suspects, or maybe even find the killer. You're seeing all the patients that were on the books when he was killed. There was no forced entry, so they think it might be someone he knew, or someone who had access to the office. Yeah, like little old me. Do you think I'm a suspect, Doctor? I suppose everyone's a suspect at the moment, even you. They did mention I needed grief counselling though, and I said you'd sort me out. I know you didn't agree, but I thought I'd let you know. That's very kind of you. I don't know exactly, but a stabbing of some kind. We'll be getting the autopsy through at some point. I'll let you know when. But I heard it was a bit of a mess with all the blood and everything. You know, they have people who clean up after such things though, so you really can't tell, can you? But don't worry. That's a new chair. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of the patients who had a problem with the treatment they were getting. If you're unhappy enough to kill your therapist, they're probably not doing a very good job. I don't know what Dr. Decker was doing here, and my services weren't required that evening. He'd often stay late though, so it wasn't that unusual. So I don't know if he had any friends. In terms of enemies, I heard things get heated in his office sometimes. Susan, Annabelle, Melissa, there are some names, but they're not names of anyone I know.
I'm having a loop day. It's a do-over day. You won't remember. What's the name of your assistant again? You didn't know that yesterday. Can you remember where I met Hannah? Yeah, we met at secondary. Wouldn't it be funny if my day loops if you fail to get a question right? Anyway, I think I'll probably head home. This isn't helping. I'm having a loop day. It's a do-over day. You won't remember. What's the name of your assistant again? It's interesting. Almost like... No, that can't be possible. Just, you're responding to something I said yesterday. Like, you can remember it. Are you having my loop days, Doctor? It's been fun, but... I've got a pill. Dr. Decker gave me this pill. He told me if I took it, I'd never have another loop day. It's got a small skull and crossbones on it. Should I take the tablet, Doctor? See you on the flip side. Mom? I'm having a loop day. You won't remember it. What's the name of your assistant again? Is there anything you can say that's going to break this loop for me? I never mentioned a pill this time, or a tablet. What the hell is going on here? Are you reliving my days? Something somewhere has changed since you arrived. Like some kind of sim theory. Some professor believes we could be living inside a computer simulation, and someone is controlling us. And there are millions of these sims. And someone, somewhere behind a keyboard is just causing havoc. I'm starting to think you have that keyboard, Doctor. Wait, don't answer that. I don't want to know.
Ooh, deja vu. Are you sitting in exactly the same place I left you last night? Oh, that's where it all starts, Doctor. Anyway, do you think you can fit me in today? Looking at the diary, it's just the usual suspects, and you must be getting sick of them already. I've got this for you, too. It's some more footage from Professor Alderby that was hiding away. Well, come find me if you need anything.
Nothing, of course. The faculty thinks I've gone loopy, like some kind of spongy Mobius strip. That's why I'm here, isn't it, Dr. Decker? Him, God, the great old one, the elder god, Cthulhu, however you address him. Listen to me! You're not listening! It's your only bloody job! Well, let's call him God. He creates this world for his amusement, something he can play with and occasionally alter to suit his mood. God loves chaos, but something goes wrong. Man and woman evolve. What was once chaotic becomes, well, more ordered. Without chaos, he has less power. When there's too much order, he becomes impotent. So he needs to instill chaos again. And do you know how he does this? No. And yes, but you're being too granular. He needs chaos so he can return, and the only thing stopping him is you. Not just you. You and people like you. Psychiatrists, doctors, nurses. Anyone who is caring for people who are losing their sanity. You have no comprehension how important your job is, do you? He doesn't need your version of insanity to spread. He needs chaos. It's not the same. It's just a means to an end. They're not all cultists, unfortunately. Once you see the truth, it's hard not to spread chaos yourself, to cause further insanity and harm your own. I doubt it. But can I make you question your reality? Definitely. But in doing so, I would be promoting more chaos. On the basis the central component of our universe is chaos, science can only document a perception of the chaos at any one given moment in time, as by definition, chaos is unpredictable from one moment to the next, which means that at any given moment, we can choose to alter our perception of the world, no matter how much chaos that would cause. In 10 seconds' time, there will be no gravity in this room, and we will float. 3, 2, 1. You think nothing happened. But where's your glass, Doctor?
I'm Lacey Hendricks. So you don't know about me then? My next door neighbour in Jobson Hill, where I live, she was murdered. 80, and they diversion burgled her. But she was wise to it and started calling the police. They slit her throat with a bread knife. So I started a neighbourhood watch. Everyone else thought we were overreacting. If they want their throats cut, that's up to them, living in their bubbles. But Agnes, poor Agnes, she went missing and still is. And that's what people think. But it's not the truth. It killed them. It looks normal enough. A smartly dressed door-to-door saleswoman. I know because I heard my other neighbours shout at her, "No Jehovah's!" They think anyone knocking is a Jehovah. But she said she was selling double glazing. But I watched her go to Agnes's.
Poor Agnes. She let her right into her house. It turned from a person into a, well, it looked like, I guess you'd call it a Medusa. Snakes for her face. And Agnes just fell to the floor. A few minutes later, the woman left, smiling like the cat that got the cream. That was the end of Agnes. I saw it with my own eyes. What more proof do I need? You're starting to sound like Dr. Decker. He didn't believe me either. He didn't believe me. He thought I was having a hallucination caused by the stress of my neighbour being so brutally murdered. Where is Agnes, though? I haven't found her, have they? Have they? That thing ate her. Or made her disappear or something. Her useless husband managed to survive unscathed, though. Other than the fact that he looks at me like I'm 6 foot under every time we meet. He doesn't seem too bothered she's gone missing either. He did at first, when the police were crawling around. But now they've gone, that's stopped. If I hadn't seen that thing eat her, I'd... He's a weaselly little man who spends far too much time in his garden. It's probably like the National Trust back there. The constant digging and building, pruning and sawing. I kept watching the front door after that saleswoman had left and nothing. She didn't leave, and you can't get out the back since the council sold the garage block. Ron's a gardener, not a killer. Unless... Agnes said Ron was laying the foundations for a new greenhouse. You don't think... I need to call them now. But they won't listen to me. I tried to tell them about the monster, but they didn't believe me. They won't believe me about this, I promise you. Please, could you call them, Doctor? I'll get someone else to do it. I suppose I shouldn't really expect any help from you. Dr. Decker used to call me the leech lady. He said that I leech thoughts from people, suck 'em right out of their heads. And I can put thoughts in there too. I'm not that clever though, am I, Doctor? I mean, it's not as if I was having an affair with Ron and Agnes was in the way and needed to disappear. So I made this story up. I mean, what do you think I do for a living anyway? Doctor, you're so good. We're going to get on just fine. I was at Henley Church. They had a service that ran right up till midnight. For us less fortunates without a love in their life. Well, now. Do you have someone, Doctor? Do you have a love in your life? Garden club. You should come with me one night. It's a lovely way to meet new people.
I'm Jasmine. I don't come in that often. What happened to Dr. Decker? Oh. When? How? Sorry, you probably don't know, do you? I didn't really know him that well. I'm trying to remember what I was doing on Valentine's Day now. I had to work all day at Providence. When you see a painting, it stands still. When I see one, it's moving, like a mini film, like little vines. But when there's a person in the painting, they watch me, normally disapprovingly, because they don't think I know how to appreciate art, because I'm too young. I love art. I love paintings.
like I said, they move for me. When I want them to normally. When I want to really get inside what's going on. But some paintings, I can't stop. I've been working on portraits, at home, outside work. But my paintings aren't so good. Nowhere near Providence standard. I painted a man, Dorian. You know, after Dorian Gray. I wanted to try and capture someone aging, so I divided the face into thirds and painted a boy, his father, and his grandfather in each third. It was hideous. And it started talking to me that I have no talent, nothing will become of me. Is that true, Doctor? I hear it so many times with that wretched painting. It's in my head. But thank you. When I told him about my problem, he told me to set fire to it. I tried to set fire to Providence. At that time, I thought the only way to fix my problem was to set fire to the entire art gallery. Several paintings didn't make it. Luckily, my boss didn't press charges. The police did arrest me, though. My boss, Petra, she's just lovely like that. Providence has gone through some tough times, and I've only been there a year. She invested her life savings, and it's still not making any money. Such a sweet lady. You'd do anything for her. I already ripped up the painting. It screamed as I cut it. And now whenever I close my eyes, I can see it, hear it. I need the tablets, Doctor. I need them. The temazepam, the sleeping tablets. The ones you gave me last time. Dr. Decker gave them to me. They helped. I know it's in my head. I know paintings can't talk. What's wrong with me, Doctor? Why do I do this? Thank you, Doctor. I'll think about that. And the prescription, please?
There's something I want to tell you about. Something else that's wrong with me. I think I've been getting a bit out of control in my hour. When I first got the hour, I was shocked, obviously. It took me a while to work out that everyone was frozen and only I could move, because I live on my own. What would you do, Doctor, if you had an hour where everyone was frozen? Go to a fairground? I'm sure you can come up with more exciting things to do than that. I did think, what good could I do, other than catch up with work? I did see a woman who was having her purse snatched, so I gave her purse back, and the crook, I placed him on a bus a few blocks away. I have no idea where it was going. She'd never really be able to thank me, so I took another picture. Moving things around and hiding things was amusing at first, when everyone was frozen. Some people would faint when things appeared from mid-air. Others would cry. Others just thought that it was there all the time and that their mind was playing tricks on them. It got boring fast, though. Yes, I would steal too. And I have stolen. I ran out of milk, so I thought I'd go to the local all-night shop and get some more. I was absolutely intending to pay, but when I got there, everyone was frozen. I thought about leaving money on the counter, but that seemed weird. The cashier would wake and suddenly this money would have appeared from nowhere. But I've stolen bigger things. From stealing milk, I moved on to petrol. From petrol, well, all those supermarkets have all kinds of electricals, so I've stolen quite a lot of that. I'm not proud. I think I've been doing it because I can. To prove to myself either way, my extra hour is actually real. You can be the perfect supervillain. Nobody knows it was you. There's a young mother, divorced, who lives opposite me. Jessica. She's friendly and says hello to me, smiles. I've always wondered what she looks like naked. So 1 hour, I broke into her house. She was standing in her bedroom. I took it as a sign. I took off her clothes and I took photos of Jessica when she was naked. When I'd stripped her. When she was naked and frozen. I didn't want to have to do it again, to strip her again. So I took pictures to remind myself what she looked like. That's wrong, isn't it, Doctor? I took a picture after undressing her. I put her clothes back on before time resumed. To be honest, there wasn't much to take off and put on. Do you know what kind of girls walk around at midnight, Doctor? It's that bloody Dr. Decker. He made me this way. It's all his fault. I originally presented with depression, and everything was going well for a while. Then Dr. Decker changed. Like he wasn't listening. I'm pretty sure he wasn't listening half the time. I don't think he wanted to know about his patients anymore. But when he did give you advice, he told me to use my imagination, to make something up, to think something crazy, and it would become real. He told me to think of a way to get more time. So I did. But he pushed me. He made me think it. Thinking I had an extra hour at the end of each day did become real for me, Doctor. Maybe Decker was a genie, and he could grant wishes. Maybe he wished himself dead. I don't know. I dug the grave for Dr. Decker. I helped carry his coffin to the burial site. Do you know what? It didn't weigh enough to have a body in it. Why do you think that is? There was something in it. A decoy, I'd imagine. I'm guessing he was buried somewhere else, or cremated. Somebody somewhere didn't want his body going in the ground. Do you want to be cremated or buried, Doctor? Less work for me. I'm a bit of a professional at this grave-filling business, Doctor. I know a decoy coffin when I handle one. It's only the power of hindsight that made me realize how toxic it all was. And after a point, you go too far to be able to come back anyway. For whatever reason, Dr. Decker had given up the desire to cure my mind, and instead wanted to make me more unstable. I was home alone. I only live 5-minute cycle ride from here, so I could have been and gone several times. But I didn't. I've never been to this office outside my scheduled appointment time. Once a week on Tuesdays. It's my day off, because I have to work half days at the weekend. That wretched dig goes on 24/7. 25/7, if you ask me. Your patient, Nathan, caused quite a stir. He interrupted one of the female students all night, apparently. Made her miscategorize some findings, going on about his dead girlfriend. It's amazing what you hear at the coffee machine. Well, I suppose that's a bonus. We're allowed to use their coffee machine while they're there. I live on my own. Occasionally I visit my father. He's in sheltered housing. Dementia. When you work in a graveyard, you see a lot of strange things. I'm not sure if they're real, or whether I think they're real, or which is worse. Sometimes I see a girl standing behind you. I don't know who it is. I don't know what you're asking me either. Possibly a patient that died here. I'm not sure. She doesn't normally say anything. It's obviously not real. Probably a side effect of the sleeping pills I'm on. Yes, that does sound weird, doesn't it? I take the temazepam as an antidepressant when I feel I need a little chemical help. I don't want to sleep through my extra hour, so obviously I don't take it at night.